Conversation time now with Superintendent of the Shelton School District, Wyeth, Jessee. Hello, how are you, sir?
Hey, Jeff, how's it going?
Good. Been a little bit since we checked in. Everybody's still kind of riding high on that passing of the levy by the citizens, some 62%, 63%, something like that. Huge number across the state when you look at kind of how everybody else fared. Not a lot of other schools, their levies failed, but I think most were not anywhere close to that high number.
That's a great point, Jeff. Yeah, there was like 130 something school districts that ran a levy this last February. And so we did a little analysis. And so for those districts that are similar to Shelton, especially around need, so qualifying for free or reduced lunch is kind of that number. They were, I believe, 8 or 9 percentage points less than we were.
Wow.
So a lot of them squeaked it out. I actually know a lot of those districts because I run a lot of comparables from us to those districts about how we're doing on our metrics like discipline, literacy reading scores, and graduation rates. So I'm always in attendance. So I'm always looking at like how they're doing. Levy's another one of those metrics that you're looking at. And we crushed it. And I really thank the voters. You can see the commitment to the kids here in Shelton is just outstanding. But it's also why we're doing so much better than other districts too, around even those other metrics, most certainly like reading, discipline, and attendance.
One of the things then I saw at the most recent board meeting was Director of Finance Clinton Sherman there was up talking about some potential rifts. And I had heard that in the community. There was a lot of folks going, well, wait a second, what happened? I thought the levy and everybody was safe. Clinton talked during this, and you can go back and see it on Mason Web TV, has the video cast of this. But he gave a pretty interesting presentation holistically of the district and kind of the state too when it comes to the main thing was it seemed just kids getting finding different ways to get education, and then like the birth rates of the state are starting to decline, so that in turn adds eventually less kids just in the population.
Yeah, there's like the districts or superintendents or any of us, we really want to keep our folks, and I've said that before. I said that last spring. In this particular juncture right now, it's not just the Shelton School District, it's all across the United States. It's not just even Washington, where you have contraction. There's just lower birth rates. For us, the peak was 2016, and we'd decreased the number of births since. There's one uptick during COVID one year. And then here we are, right? And so that equates to less kids showing up. Couple that with the current immigration policies. So there's just less immigrants coming into the United States. And so that equals less kids because they would show up, out throughout the year. They aren't, they haven't. And so that's ultimately a net decrease. Less births and less people migrating here equals less students, and less students equals less dollars, and less dollars equals less that we can fund for our staff, right? You're just we're in a contraction mode.
So what do you have to look at then when it comes to the amount of students in the classrooms versus the payback from the state in addition to the levy dollars that kind of gives you that framework of where the changes could happen, I guess?
Yeah, there's a lot of complexity, and I hate to say those things, especially for the listeners. Like you're saying complexity, and I'm like, I wish I wish we had enough time to explain all the variables, but in simple form, each student generates revenue. It's a direct thing, Jeff. It's for everything. It's about $18,000 per kid. So when you lose a kid, you lose 18 grand. That's straight up, right? Like, so you just go, yes, I heard they're losing about 170 students since over the last year. Okay, because again, a lot of that's really didn't come from migration to here. And so when we don't have that, that is going to equal, that is right there, a lot of money. 18, I'm talking off the top of my head, but you can hear whatever around, for us to be, $350,000, right? Something like that. And so, that's at least three, four roundish teachers, depending on the needs too of the student, whether they have special needs, things that are attached to it. And so those dollars are things that we don't get. And so that's literally what causes this. To couple into it, though, the expenses still go up. I've said that so many times, Jeff. I'm kind of tired of saying it. I'm sure a lot of people and families out there are tired of living it. This increase in gas is a lot. It's a lot. Our buses are not exactly the most fuel efficient operation. Trucks take a lot, right? Just like a logging truck that goes right by my office all day long. Those things impact the bottom line. And so all goods are pretty much tied to gas prices. So hopefully gas prices don't stay up very long, because that would impact our bottom line, just like, again, everybody else. We have an $85 million budget. Where that money goes or how it's spent isn't always something. It's like a lot less underneath my control than what you would recognize, because I'm not controlling necessarily the enrollment, especially in this particular case, and the cost. And then recently, the ledge just shored up. Jeff, they are more cuts to public education. The state's running a deficit. They got to shore it up. Public education's one of those, so we're receiving less dollars as well.
Yeah, I was seeing some posts online about, people kind of feeling like, well, fool me once, shame on you kind of a situation where they said, let's work on the lottery and those funds are going to go to education. Let's do the Initiative 502 and those funds are supposed to go to education. Now there's this, what they're calling this millionaire tax, this income tax that, they're hoping that some of this might go towards education. But again, there's nothing in the actual verbiage that says for sure this percentage of this is going to go here. So, I mean, at what point do either all of the families in the state, regardless of your political preference or background, stand up to these lawmakers and say, listen, folks, you got to get this figured out. We can't be relying on these levies all day long, paramount, first line of the state constitution, whatever you got to say, to ensure that these levels of education just don't keep getting dropped off, despite all the work that you're doing to increase the positive outputs here.
Jeff,
how do you do that?
Yeah. Well, one, it breaks my heart, right? Hey, we did a really good job with the levy. That's a great example, Jeff. We did a great job. These voters really supported the Shelton School District. And when we went around, we told them there's a thing called levy equalization. So that means state dollars, right? The state says, you pass your levy, your education levy, we're going to fund you a percentage of to match up to you passing that levy. And so for us, it's a little over 3%. Equalization, and that's $3 to $4 million that come from the state that gets linked up with that levy dollars so that we can fund things here. The ledge just passed a thing where they're decreasing those levy equalization dollars, meaning if you pass your levy and you qualify as a high needs district, which we are, Jeff, here in Shelton, we qualify for that levy equalization dollars because that's what it was meant to do, is to fund those who have less means. We're not rich. We don't have a huge, very, multi-million dollar properties left and right, like some other communities, right? We don't have a whole bunch of industry to fund that as well, right? So it's a lot different in Thurston, even in Thurston County, let alone Pierce, King, and Snohomish counties. So that's why they give it that levy equalization dollars to districts just like Shelton. That's why we qualify for it. The ledge just cut those dollars. So they cut that percentage. It's looking right now. I haven't got all the final numbers. The ink is still not even quite dry on this last ledge session, but it's looking like something like $400,000 shortfall for us each year for the next 3 years, Jeff. That's what breaks my heart. We did this. They told us this. We plan on that. And then you take those dollars and then you leave it up to us to have to manage into those dollars. And frankly, we're so lean, there's no slack. I don't have all this money. That's just an equal less that we have to do the things that we're required to do. And we are a people organization. I would love to hire more counselors. I would love to hire more librarians. These are things that are really critical for us. We already fund those things outside with the levy dollars. When you cut my ability to maximize those dollars that the state owes us because we pass it, and that was the promise made, it breaks my heart when I hear, yeah, we're going to have to give you less now. To us. Why us? Right? Those rich districts, they're not facing that same cut.
Yeah.
Doesn't qualify for levy equalization dollars. So Olympia doesn't do that. They don't have that same cut. We do. I'm infuriated by it sometimes.
And are these conversations you have with Chris Reichdahl, the superintendent for the state, or is it just coffee groups with your other superintendents over a monthly Zoom where you say we got to figure out how to do this? Or at what point does it start getting pushed back that says no, this is unacceptable? Go back, figure out what's being funded at where, and give the education system what it needs, and then work on all these other things that you're trying to get through.
Well, it's to the point right now is redefine your expectations. You have to realize you have to redefine your expectations of what you're thinking of as public education if we continue to go like this, right? And so the last 3 sessions that the ledge has met, I know other superintendents, a lot of people did a lot of advocacy and it's gotten nowhere. So why would you keep burning all your time and energy to equal a not ability to get a payback? So that's very frustrating. There's 44 other districts in my region of superintendents that I work with, and 80% of them are facing the same things we are. They're facing a reduction in staff. They are having to cut everywhere. They're not able to attend to all the maintenance things they need. And they're not able to provide the same level of supports for those who are in greatest need. And so they're facing that. My job for me, Jeff, here in the Shelton School District is to figure out how to maximize the dollars the best I can, but we do have to work within priorities of that. And, kids come first. We made decisions on what's best for kids. So we're going to keep maximizing those services and to maintain the service star. That's why we are a top performing district. I think we can continue to do that even in these lean times. I want to reiterate that. I do have high expectations for us. And I know our staff and our community does too, because the kids deserve it. At the same time, we also have to be cognizant that we're not going to be able to do some of the enriching things, like, for example, a math adoption or something, a curricular adoption. That's $500,000 just to kind of get started into that realm. It takes an investment of like $1.5 million probably to do a full math adoption for the 4,400 kids we serve, because it's a lot of professional development. Those books are hundreds of dollars. Then you need supplemental materials, right? That extra planning time, all those things are a lot of cost. So I have to find $1.5 million from what, right? And knowing that our math scores are not very good, they got to get better. It takes an investment.
You don't have to answer this, but I just think out loud that I wonder how many of the lawmakers in Olympia either have kids of school age or those kids are in public education versus private. This just kind of popped into my head while you were talking about all that. So let's move on to some of the other good things that are happening in the district. Always these meetings have opportunities. I always see kids singing or kids reading something, and they're showing off what they're doing, plus all the great sports. What do you got?
Showing off everywhere, Jeff. Are you kidding me? Like, it's crushing it. There's an event tomorrow, so NJROTC is doing their annual check. I had gone the last couple of years. I don't think I'm going to be able to make tomorrow. I'm so unfortunate. I'm like triple booked. But that event, they did a performance at a recent board meeting. Just the discipline that you hear, the offering of what that does for kids, the pride they have to put on that uniform. And it's all about their self-discipline, right? It's the ability to go, I got to get up at 5:30 for the day. I got to get ready, get my outfit on, the honor, the value, the teamwork, the family feeling of it. I love it. We've got students presenting about just today. I was working with the Economic Development Committee here for the county and just watching some of our students present about what it is that they would like to do to earn certificates to be early learning specialists, right? To go in there, and it's a high needs thing for us. So I love that. I just, everywhere I go, I got kids reading and writing, wanting to show off all of the things I don't know. I think this week alone I had three separate parents or staff just directly tell me, like, I can't get this kid to get rid of this book. They just love having that underneath them and they're addicted. I love to hear those things as well. Athletics, as you know, we had a number of honorees. We had a wrestler who came in second place in the highest weight division in wrestling. I think that's 280 or 285 or above. He did extremely well. He was very well articulate, came to the board meeting. The swimming team did well. Girls basketball, girls wrestling. I think I'm going to say six or seven wrestlers placed at state. Can you believe that? Athletics have taken off, Jeff. I mean, if people listening haven't got the word out, athletics in Shelton have absolutely just radically improved over the last 5 years, and it's great to see that. I just think it's something that we have a lot of things to be proud of, and kids' performance, the Thespian Society out doing performances. Yeah, those are just a sprinkling, an example of all the things I think that we've had. One last thing, I think they did a bingo night over at Choice Cedar, and they were a lot of families and kids showed up, like a lot of people. And I know Evergreen gets well over 200 people just alone at their place. So lots of community, right? Schools are the center of our community. The voters definitely are giving to it. They support it. And the kids are just showing up and doing amazing performances, which I don't know. I love, and I hope everyone else enjoys it.
I got a phone call the other day from former CEO of our community credit union, Joe Roberts. He says, Jeff, I got to talk to you. I'm going to go talk to Wyeth about something.
This Joe.
First off, what's the story on this guy? Tell me about him. And I go, oh yeah, no, he's great. What are you doing? And he said he was going to present on a possibility for a renaming of the softball field at the high school. So that's just another way that the school district honors former community members about the great work that they've put in over the years. And I've seen a lot of posts online already about folks being excited about this opportunity. How does that work out, or what does the public need to know about this?
Yeah, so we have a process where you can go through and recommend that we have name something after someone who made a significant contribution to the athletics here in Shelton, and so Terry Gregg Court, right? Like, for example, you can see it. It's actually still looks really cool.
Yeah, that circle thing.
The circle stretch kind of banner around that in the middle of the mini dome. And so you put a recommendation forward. The Hall of Fame committee that we have was various folks, different coaches, teachers, administrators, and members of the community. So they come together, they look at the application. Is this, basically, was that, just like you said, that contribution was a great, and it's not just about whether your team excelled at state or one district or something, but Jeff, that is actually about shaping the lives of youth, right? We have scholar athletes here, and that's what I really love again about this athletics that we have is those teams aren't just winning competition, but they're also winning they're on the all-state academic athletic teams in those particular sports. And so these people that put these things together, like Joe, he's a great guy, a lot of energy, Joe.
Yeah, he is.
He should have been I think he missed his calling of being a politician, but maybe that's probably what it takes to be a head of a credit union. But he's really great. Came forward, him and some others, some former athletes in girls softball. And then so they're moving forward a recommendation. They're going to review it. And then if they recommend that recommendation ultimately comes to the school board, and then whether that gets approved or not. And then some semblance of some recognition, some level of a banner naming right comes into it. So that'll be on the horizon. I think the next time, maybe the next time I talk or the next time after that, then I'll be able to make a more formal announcement. But I don't want to get ahead of myself. But we're in process on it, and I think it's very worthy of that application that was put forward by Joe.
I'll put that link to where folks can vote on this if they agree or not to the renaming of the Shelton High School softball field to Meredith Elkins. There's a link there as well on kind of her background for that one. But yeah, he called me the other day and was wondering, well, I got to go in and talk to Wyeth. What can you tell me? I go, oh yeah, no, he's fun. He's a good guy to talk to, especially when it comes to things that impact the kids, obviously. So.
Yeah, I might look serious only because I'm in serious business. When you're responsible for 4,400 students and 600 staff, like 5,000 lives right in front of you, and you want to make sure things go smoothly. I might look that way, but in all reality, I have a lot of joy to connect with our community about educating these youth, because that's why I get up every day, is to make sure that these kids have an opportunity, especially in a high needs district, just like I did when I was a kid. I owe public education everything, and I want to continue to pay that back for each of those kids.
All right. Well, Superintendent Jessee, it's always good talking with you, and we'll check back in a couple weeks or so.
Hey, thanks a lot, Jeff. I really appreciate it.